So in our first season, back in the top flight, our head coach Guti led us to a very respectable 8th place finish, just outside of those European spots, a fantastic platform to propel ourselves towards the top being PSG. Predictably, they won the league, 99 points. But we saw in the last episode that I've been busy in the transfer market. In our role as the director of football, it's all about buying the right players and hoping that Guti can do the business on the pitch. Let's go and find out how he did with those new players as we find out how our second season back in Liga 1 has gone. Come on. Hello and welcome back to the director of football save for FM24, where we are at Paris FC. You join us at the start of today's video in a live com. We are joining once again our main man, watching man, to go and watch our team, Guti's team. As you see the team there, there's a few differences and changes that you might notice in the way that we've been setting up recently. It's been a really interesting evolution of the side. I'm going to show you how the season has gone. In fact, there you can see it. There's the league table, and you will notice us not top, not second, but third. It's been a fantastic season. We wanted to improve on that 8th place finish. We wanted to talk about whether we can get into Europe. We've managed to do so, and I wanted to jump in straight away and show you a live com today because it's hard to get them into this series sometimes. You see here, Halsat Naipan taking the set piece, swinging it in for João Rego. There's Silla. Krupi to João Rego. That was almost a fantastic start, wasn't it? That would have been nice, wouldn't it? I'm going to talk you through, as we watch this game, the story of the season, really. And I kind of want to start with the 11 that you can see on the pitch here. You will notice that leading our line, if I can try and click on him, is Jonah Kusi Asari, the youngster that we signed on that really cheap deal from AIK in Sweden, the youngster who's joined Bayern Munich in real life recently. Started outside of the team, and then kind of touched upon this in the last episode. I managed to somehow, I don't know if I want to get involved too much, but he was really unhappy about not playing. So I was forced to make a promise that he would play games. And then from then, Guti put him into the team and he started scoring loads of goals, and he's not been out of the team since then. It's a really interesting little quirk that we might be able to manipulate, but I also want to try and avoid getting involved too much. As we take the lead here, João Rego, he's becoming a real favourite of ours, I think. He's been here since the very start, hasn't he? That loan being made permanent in the summer, and he scored plenty of goals this year too. You see, Kusi Asari leading the line, Krupi playing as the number 10 in behind. We wondered if he'd become our main striker. It looks like it's going to be Kusi Asari, and even though that is all the case and all of that is happening, Anthony Martial is still our main goal threat. He has been, and again, our top goal scorer as he scores the second in this game. We're a really good team now. We've got good players. We've got, I mentioned it in the intro, a real platform from which to try and propel ourselves up towards the top. And even Guti, as a manager, I think is improving. He's changed the formation a few times, I've noticed. We went away to PSG earlier in the season. We lost the game 1-0, but I noticed that Guti changed to a 4-3-3 with a defensive midfielder, which just made me think maybe he's developing a little bit as a coach, because before we were getting smashed about by PSG, 5-0 and things, and he was still sticking with this 4-2-3-1 that he's playing. These also, by the way, these are no longer in his 4-2-3-1. They're no longer defensive midfielders, but central midfielders. It's Diaz and a new signing that I don't even know. Oh, sorry, it's Naipan actually in this game who's playing. He's definitely changing things, and as you can see by the result, it's working. 2-0 here then against Lorient. Let's see if I can pause it here to show you the league table as we go through. In fact, I'll jump out of the game to show you this league table. This has been the story of the season then. 33 games, about to become 34. We sit in a Champions League qualifying position. Welcome back to the DOF save, by the way. We've gone straight into it today. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on the video too. We are now officially a Champions League team, and we are together in today's episode going to try and come up with a transfer plan. Have a look at the targets, the players that are available, and see where we can go from spending about £30 million in actual spending that we've got to spend this summer. 64 points, way off the top still, and kind of comfortably though in this top four. If I show you the results that we've had, if I go to the schedule here, it's been we've had real weird patches of performances. We've been brilliant for lots of games in a row here. Look, scoring so many goals at the start of the season, and then horrible spells where we lost loads of games in a row. There was a 5-1 home loss. Look, I think in this game, if I go to it, we did play with the... Yeah, see... Oh, no, that's PSG. We did play the 4-2-3-1 in this one. You see Cassius, Utara. There might be a couple of new signings that you've not seen yet, by the way. Naipan playing wide. It was weird. It didn't work. We got beaten. Then again, look at the score. Look at the stats, sorry. 10 shots, 7 on target. They scored 5. That's just PSG for you. Let me show you the other game that I was talking about. Okay, it was a 2-0 loss. No, it wasn't. It was this 1-0 loss at home. You will notice... No, it wasn't that one then, because he played the 4-2-3-1 there. Was it this 2-0 away from home? You will notice that he did change the formation to this 4-3-3, which I think, I don't know, it's really interesting to me that the AI assistant managers will go and do this. You're also something to mention, and Soki playing left back. Somebody did leave a comment saying maybe we should play him there. Guti obviously had the same idea. He's played as a left back quite a lot. And here's another new signing that you didn't see at the end of last episode. I said I had a bit more business to go and do. I picked up this guy from Benfica, and I really like it as business. He's now got good value. Signed him for £1.5 million. Denis Telehovsky. He's just a squad. I think I've agreed for him to be a squad player as well, although I can't see it because I'm currently watching, man. He's agreed to be a squad player, and he just comes in and just plays really well whenever we need him to. Anyway, let's go and rejoin this game. I just wanted to show you a live com when we began, although I was maybe not expecting it to be quite as one-sided as this one is currently being at the moment. We are dominating Lorient with, or Lorient, to call them their proper name, probably. They've had 1 shot. We've had 10 on target already. We've scored twice. We're on the attack here. I want you to get a feel and a flavour for the team. So playing the live comms is maybe the best way to do that. If we ever get to a final, we'll of course include the finals in the videos. But I also want to get through and make the progress with the save twos. That's why we're doing almost a season at a time, aren't we? Here, are they going to have an attack here? Maybe we'll see how our defence is going to do. We are not playing... Who's playing left back, actually? Is it Nsocki? It is Nsocki playing left back in this one as well. We didn't end up selling him for that 16 or so million pounds that he was linked with the move away, wasn't he? It's Silla who's playing left centre-back. Yoro at right centre-back. Tobias playing... He's new, isn't he? You haven't seen him yet. Vinicius Tobias was another new signing that I made in the summer. Brought him in for 4.9 million. It was not 4.9 up front, and he's been a revelation, actually. He's taken the shirt away from Cassius, who was the signing that I showed you last episode. From Shakhtar Donetsk, he is a Brazilian under-20 international, only 23 still. I really like his attributes, mainly because he's really fast, and I really like a fast wing-back. He's come in and got a load of assists, 8 assists in the league, look, and scoring 3 goals, 7.16 average rating. He's been really, really solid at right-back. A bit like Dodo, I suppose maybe it's the Shakhtar link that I'm thinking of for him. I'm really happy with where the squad is at the moment. I'm really happy with the job that Guti's doing. It's almost too plain sailing at the moment. We need a little bit of jeopardy. We need some struggles because so far we're just flying through, aren't we? Is Jalrego's going to make it 3, is he? He might be offside. He looked like he might just be offside in this one. We'll wait for the VAR. Here is that VAR. Yeah, it was goal disallowed. I thought he might have been. You can see he's a threat though coming in from that left-hand side. There's Kusiasari into Martial. Martial just lifts it. Look, yeah, he's way offside. We're approaching half-time. We might even get another highlight here. Looks like we're going to. Here is Junior Krupi. Interesting one with him. And the same can be said about Albon Lafont in goal, who is still here. Another one that we mentioned maybe we would sell if we got a big bid. We never did get that bid. But Lafont and Krupi are both unhappy at the club at the moment because they want to move so that they can get into the France squad. I think what I'm going to do to try and get around this is to completely ignore it. I'm going to hopefully get us to a point where we've got a big enough rep and we're in the biggest competitions that they get picked for France, because they seem to be good enough, but they both now want to leave, even though I've signed Krupi to a new contract with an extra 3-year extension should we want to trigger it. It's a weird one. I guess it's kind of realistic if they're not being picked because it's Patrick Vieira, the France manager, and he does keep overlooking them and refusing to give them any type of appearances, and maybe because they've got players like Kylian Mbappe in front of them, which does kind of make sense, doesn't it? They just had a goal disallowed, by the way, same as us, but we're just running this one, aren't we? As you see, is that Guti on the side there? There he is. Look, he's a tracksuit manager. I don't know if we thought that was going to be the case. Maybe I'd expect him to wear a suit. I don't know. Just the vibe I got from him, but he is a tracksuit manager. Maybe because it's last game of the season vibes. We get a nice home game as well for our last game here. Go and say bye to the fans. Some of these players might not be here next year. Players like Naipan, struggling to get him to come back on his loan. Don't think we're going to be able to sign him permanently, like we did with Krupi, by the way, who's just scored a lovely goal. 17 for the season from him. I think it's an assist for Martial again, by the way. He's still really good. He's 31 now, Martial, but he's still absolutely doing the business. Tobias into Martial, into Krupi in that number 10 spot, past the keeper, Radu, 3-0, and it's just as easy as you like. It really is as easy as you like. No subs yet. I want to see if we get a bit of action from Kusi Asari, the youngster. He's really surprised me by how... Well, Guti surprised me by keeping him in the team after I almost accidentally gave him that shot. He's just stayed in the team since and just started scoring those goals. Here's Martial. That's what he does. 20 for the season for Martial. If this one is going to count. This one might count. I think this one's a bit tighter. Let's see what the assistant didn't raise his flag. It has been awarded. It's 4-0. But just, it's Guti playing a 4-2-3-1 gegenpress. I think we might have found the most overpowered thing in the game. It's outrageous how effective it is. Jalrego's gone off injured, by the way. Bakayoko is on. He hasn't played as much as I would have hoped he did. He's actually been very injury prone as Johan Bakayoko. Maybe that's why those other teams didn't go for him on a free. Still a good squad option. I will show you the status of the squad after this too, as we chat about transfers, maybe make some bids, maybe identify some targets. I want to hear from you guys in terms of feedback, really. I feel like I've done all the transfers and shown you what I've done. I kind of want to get you guys involved with where we go next, because I think maybe it's the time to go big, perhaps, as Krupi makes it 5-0. I wasn't expecting this live com to be as long as this, because I wasn't expecting us to score this many goals. But it's always nice when you do. 5-0 on the night then. 75 minutes played. Bakayoko, I think, getting this assist. It is. It's a nice finish. He takes it into his stride. Pops it in the back of the net. 5-0. There's the bench, just so you can see, I don't know, get a taste for who's made the squad and who's not in the squad, perhaps. Bakayoko corner, looking for 6 with 10 to play. Juve off the bar. Silla. Krupi might smash it back in, might. He might go wide again. Just going to hold on to it. Here's Martial. Naipan. Yeah, nothing came of that one in the end. We did go close, though. Those set pieces are working quite nicely. Andy Juve's been so solid in our team this year as well. Utara. Maybe left back's an area. I mean, he's not helped himself with this. As I was about to say, maybe left back is an area where we might be able to make an improvement as he passes straight to them. There's Alban Lafont with the save, though. Surely now, that's going to be full time. 3 minutes added on. We'll get ourselves back out of here. We'll maybe go and jump to the squad screen, and I'll show you in a little bit more detail how each player has done, and maybe we'll talk about where we want to look for some options. Perhaps if there's been weaker areas of the pitch, maybe we'll look for where we can improve by identifying some targets, having a bit of a transfer search from there. This, though, might be the end of the game, as Lorient might get one back. They do. It's Svein Aron Gudjonsson, son of Ida Gudjonsson, I do believe, and a bit of a throwback to last year's DOF save. Gudjonsson, of course, was in charge at Almeria for a little bit, and I do believe we signed... Was it this Gudjonsson we signed? If it is his son. We signed one of his sons anyway, didn't we, at one point? He was rubbish. He scored against us here, though, this one. Is it his son? I actually now want... I don't think we need to check the information screen. That is Ida Gudjonsson just respawned. It definitely is his son. He has another one, right? This is the one we signed. We signed Andrew Lucas for Almeria. He's got so many... Look how many brothers there are. There's 3. There's 3 of them. This one just scored against us, and it's definitely looked like him. We're going to do a lap of honour. I'm going to go and jump to the squad screen now. We'll talk about our season. Let's go and have a think about some transfer stuff. What a season it's been. Champions League qualification. Get in. Okay, so here we are then on the tactics screen. I want to do a bit of squad building live with you today. As I mentioned before, I want to involve you in the process a little bit more so in today's episode. So it might be a little bit rambly, it might be a little bit chatty, but I think hopefully you can see the reasons for doing so. This then is our tactics screen. I've still got the 4-2-3-1 gegenpress. I'm going to go with the best 11 pick just so you can kind of get an idea of who was the biggest performers, who were the worst performers, etc, etc. Lafont, still very much our goalkeeper. As I mentioned, unhappy. Do I want to try and sell him this year? Maybe, because I mean, at some point, maybe that is an idea. We do have Rest as our backup. We played 3 games, but I don't think the keeper situation is something we need to think about too much right now. Just to mention as well, we do have £33 million in transfer budget, 34k available. Now, that's not that much in terms of a wage budget, is it? However, I've just put the contracts in here to show you that Piolo and Marshall Rutty's contracts are both running out For some reason, Marshall Rutty's agreed playing time went to star player. I've put this onto this screen just so I can kind of manage it. I tried to move as many players down as possible to impact sub and to squad player, just because we were getting all of these players becoming unhappy, as I talked about last episode. For some reason, Marshall Rutty is star player because I think it happened because of his loan, and then he came back and he just expected to start every game. Needless to say, he hasn't started every game. He's now wanted for his ender contract stuff. He's going to go back to, it looks like, North America with some USA teams in for him there. I think we're going to have to let him go. Sorry, Canadian viewers. Not quite worked out. I think it was a good idea. He played some games for us, but I think he's going to be one that leaves. So 18k. And Kiolo, I think we've just moved past him. He had a really good season for us in Liga DOF, where he played 32 games for us. Played 16 last year, only 2 appearances this year. 0 starts. Guti clearly doesn't fancy him as a starter. So those 2 is about an extra, 40,000 off the wage budget. And then, and I've just noticed something, and I talked about the fact that Naipan might not be here next season. And maybe, just maybe, some of you were screaming at your screens and saying, you've got an optional fee, because we do indeed have an optional fee of £12.75 million. His value is like 80 to 90 million. I think what we just saw it in the game there. It's now changed because I did speak to his agent. It is, in fact, something we can go for. And he is, in fact, interested to come to us. However, he does want a wage of £93,000 per week. I think I'm going to offer for him now, because this is a no-brainer, right? We have to do this. I think what I also might do is, just so we've got enough leeway to maybe give him a big wage. I think he's worth a big wage. He is one of the best wonder kids. He's only 20. He's now settled into our team. He's actually been picked as the right winger in that best 11 that we looked at there. I think you would agree with me that we should do this, right? 12 million is nothing for what his value is going to be. Why can't I? Okay, I can't. I was going to say, why can't I talk to him? It's because, of course, they've not actually technically accepted it yet, have they? So I'm going to make a bid for him. Do we have a question over Martial? Let's go back to this screen here. I don't think we do, but maybe something to bear in mind is the fact that he is now not getting into the first 11 with the quick pick and is 31 years old. He did have an unbelievable season, though. 20 goals in 27 starts. It's actually better than last season in terms of goals and average rating. Not quite as good as his first season in that Liga DOF campaign where he got 27 in 26, but he's still an asset, but he's getting older and he is on big wages. We've gone fairly big with wages now. I've had a load of our players come and talk to us about needing new contracts. I didn't really have a choice. I think if you play FM, it's something you want to avoid doing, is giving those big contracts and paying too much in wages, but it's almost unavoidable. And I suppose in the modern world, £47,000 a week is actually not that high. It just feels a lot for Paris FC here. He's 31 on big wages. If we got a bid, maybe it'd be time to say goodbye, but I don't think we're going to get that bid, mainly because of those wages anyway. But maybe something to think about at some point. The back 4 was Nsoki as the left back, who played 17 times, or started 17 times, rotating with Utara, who did actually play more games. 27 of the games were him. But I think it might be time to move past him. I don't know what you think. I think he'd be a brilliant backup. What have we told him he is? We've agreed that he's a star player, and I don't think I can bring this down without him being, yeah, he can't. He'll get upset if I try and bring this down. I'd love him to be happy to be the backup. I think he's probably only good enough to be the backup, and Soki's probably better than him, even as a centre-back playing as left-back. I don't know how to manage that one. Do we need to sell Utara? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to see all of your comments. I'm going to wait, because this is going to come out on Thursday. I'm going to record on Saturday, so you've got time to leave me your comments to influence what I'm about to do. Hopefully this is the way I'm getting. That's a peek behind the curtain there a little bit, isn't it? But yeah, something to think about at left back. Maybe we should look at a new left back so that Nsoki can become a centre back option. Juf and Telehovsky, who I showed you during that game, really like him as a signing. Only 20 as well. He could be a great option, but maybe we could improve on that too. We've got other good midfielders though in Diaz, who can come into one of these roles nice and easily. Kiolo didn't play much, but was okay. Cyprian played no games this year, so I think we should try and move him on this summer too. He's now 32 years old. Is that it for midfielders? I think we are maybe still a little bit light there, actually, which is why I went and got Telehovsky in. And of course, actually, Naipan could also play in there, couldn't he? I suppose he's the other one that we would need to look at if we wanted to bring in a new winger, but he's actually getting picked here, and I don't mind it too much. Not sure he's really got the pace for it, but he's going to get even better. So as long as he's playing, I think that's just important, isn't it? Krupi as the number 10 has been sensational. maybe we'd even do that. Maybe train Krupi, but again, that's not really my job, is it, to train them to play other positions? So we'll go with this. Rhaego on this left-hand side has it locked down pretty much forever. He would rotate with Bakayoko, who I showed you. 9 starts for him. Very injury prone. Is unhappy about not starting enough games and is wanted for transfer. We could go and make about £20 million in profit on Johan Bakayoko. If he's as injury prone as he has been, are any of these injury prone though? He's just unhappy, not good at training, doesn't enjoy big matches, and also is inconsistent when presented with chances. Doesn't say he's injury prone, even though I feel like he's had loads of injuries. Yeah, this is this year. Like 3 injuries there. That's 3 months out as well with that broken ankle when we signed him. It's only 4 injuries. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but it felt like he was never available. So do we try and cash in on him? Do we need to cash in on him? I'm not sure. Up front, here is a revelation for this season. 6'6" striker, Jonah Kusi Asari, ended up scoring 10 goals in 16 games. 14 starts for those 10 goals. Came in and just never looked back, just started banging in the goals. So maybe he's the future up front. I don't necessarily think we need to go and sign another one, because even if he wasn't available, Krupi could just go and play as the striker. And I think he's really easily good enough. He got 18 goals this year, 27 and 96. He's about to get his 100th game for us. Does have a humongous transfer value, which we could cash in on as well, because he is wanted by some big teams. I say big teams. Maybe I'm not being, no disrespect to Brentford, Fulham, Leicester, Forest or Sociedad, but if they're going to pay 90 million for him, I would be a little bit surprised. He's making all of the under 21 World Player of the Year shortlist as well. So he's that type of talent. I think we try and hold on to him, although let's say he's reached his potential here. I think we try and hold on to him unless a big bid does come in, and then maybe we've got a decision to make. Going to the bench, players that we might need to shift on. I'm happy with Rest Martial. There's a bit of a conversation to have there. Cassius has been a really good rotation right back with Tobias, who has been really good. We've talked about him before. Telehovsky's happy and plays a lot of games. Vitic didn't play at all. Maybe this is why we were able to pick him up for 58k. 3 games. He played all right in those games too. If he's happy to be like an impact sub, which is what he's agreed to be, I think we try and we keep hold of him. I don't think he's on a big wage or anything either. He's on 16k. It's not tiny, but I think he's worth holding on to. Alfonso Moreira saw an opportunity, signed him for 1.4, hasn't really worked, only played 1 game. If we sold him for a profit here, I think that's something we need to look into in the summer. If he's not being picked and not playing games, maybe he's one we move on. In fact, let's do that now. I'm gonna ask about his market interest and see if there's anyone who would like to sign him. There's not. I'm going to do this. Weirdly, this seems to work. Okay, even though... Okay, there's no one there. I'm going to keep trying to use the intermediaries and offering out and things. I think Moreira might be one we try and sell on for a little bit of profit. Of course, 1.7 million we signed him for. 1.4? What was it? If we can sell him for 10 mil, we've made a lot of profit there. You can do the math in the comments down below. Utara will keep as a backup left back. Marshall Rutter, we talked about. Kiolo can go. His contract is up. Bakayoko, if he gets one of these bids from these teams we talked about. Quanza, I'm sad about it. I like him. He's now 24 though. If we get a bid, I think it might be time to move him on. Otherwise, he's just going to be a backup. He's agreed to be an impact sub. He's technically surplus to requirements with how little game time he's got. And that is our 11. I want to just show you as well the under-19s, because we do have some youth players in here we need to think about. This being the main one. Jeffrey Cavari. Do we try and integrate him into our 11 at some point? He's made these France under-18s team. Came through our intake. Loads of pros. Not so many cons. Really good potential. Looks like he could be an option for us. Left-footed, maybe train him on this right-hand side. Although I can't do the training. If Guti wanted to. Maybe as a 10. Just something to show you. He's the best of not a great bunch. Gil was the next best in our under-19s. And he was in the intake before, I do believe. Just to show you and keep you on top of that. I think what I'm going to go and do now is, now that we've had this conversation, I'm going to go and find out if we can sign Naipan. Let's see what his wages are going to be. Let's continue a day, because I do have a feeling that it's going to be quite high. We have had our bid accepted. Oh my word. He wants 93k to 120k. Are we going to be able to do this? Should we do that? I think, look at those pros and cons as well. I think we should do this. Let's get rid of that. Get this done. If 97k. Can't include a yearly wage rise. I don't want to go above a sell-on fee. I will put a relegation release clause in, because it can bring the price down, and I don't think we're going to get relegated. And if we do, I don't think we're going to have a job anymore. Let's put his appearance fee up and try and bring this to 90. Can he do 5 years? See, none of that negotiation really did anything, did it? What about 93? I think we're just going to have to pay him a big wage. He doesn't have a release clause. I think it's worth it. I don't know. Let me know. Should I have negotiated that more? Maybe. Let me know in the comments down below. I think it's just worth going for. Let's have a look then at some potential targets. Let's see who the director of football suggests, which is David Trezeguet, technically, which is actually our technical director, if you want to think of it like that. Maybe we're doing a recruitment meeting if you want to role play it a little bit. I think maybe, what position are we looking for? Maybe a left back, and we'll move on Utara. Who would he suggest in as a left back here? Anybody? Rico Henry, Matthias Oliveira, and Aaron Hickey. Not necessarily interested in any of those. I'm going to go to a player search here. Let's see if we can just identify 1 or 2 players for some of these positions. Do you know what I'm actually going to do? Before we even do this, I'm going to get rid of all of these here. I was looking for a defensive midfielder for less than 5 mil here. I've really enjoyed signing cheap players like that Talakovsky in our midfield. I feel like I've said his name wrong. The guy from Benfica has been really good, and he signed for 1.5 million. I really like that. Let's look for French players under the age of 25 that are now interested in joining us because we've made the Champions League. Actually, what we should do also is we should get past the tick over date, because then our reputation is going to take a boost as well. Even though on here there are some interesting names. I'll tell you what, Manu Kone jumps out straight away for me. Still only 25. Could he be that defensive midfielder alongside, maybe Juve plays further forwards, alongside someone like Diaz in that midfield? Kone could be fun, couldn't he? Still hasn't got his main or his full France debut. So good on FM, very good in real life too. 45 to 60. Do you reckon they'll bring that price down at all? Okay, maybe not. Maybe now's not the time to go and spend 190, 200,000 pounds per week on a player. I think we might pass on that, even though he'd be brilliant. I don't know when the time is to go and spend more on wages. This might not be it. Instead, maybe we'll go and get like a cast off of a big team. Gorna DOF is a midfielder I love in this game. Doesn't have his full France debut yet. Looks like he's gone to Chelsea and not quite cut the mustard. 27 million he signed for. Real Madrid are in for him. So maybe this one's a little bit... Yeah, again, he's on massive wages if we go for it. Maybe he's a little bit above what we're looking for as well. I know I was looking for a left back before. I'm just going to see. This is just any French player for... I think this is any position now, right? Yeah, any position under the age of 25. We do it by world rep. Kone's right at the top. There's Gorna DOF there. Cherky. I think he'd be too much money. I want to keep this wage down if possible. I did look at Sildilia before. I don't know about you. I think I like the idea of signing a French, or keeping it quite French in terms of the theme that we're going for. Desiree Doué is an interesting one. I've signed him plenty of times. I really like him. He's gone to AC Milan and not necessarily played many games. He went on a free. We missed him. I actually did. He wasn't interested. In fact, that might be something to look at as well. We'll come back to Desiree Doué. That could be an interesting one because it is in our price range and he wants a reasonable wage as well. Let me know what you think of that as a potential. 21 years old, under 21 caps. It fits the type of profile of player that we've been looking at. In the comments down below, let me know if you think Doué might be a one that we do. Sorry, I actually apologise for that. Sorry. And to distract you from that horrible joke there, let's quickly have a look at players whose contracts are expiring, because that could be a fun one. The July is only a couple of months away. There might be just a big name that we might be able to get in here. Looking at the list here, Nabil Fekir could be a fun one. Again, he's injured, which is maybe expected. Just to give you a quick scroll of these. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think what I'm going to look for, there's no one who jumps out here. Taliso, maybe a little bit past it now. Tovan, the same type of story. I'm drawn towards those French players once again, though. Okay, no one really is interesting me, whilst they're also interested in us. Is there anyone on this list? Yeah, Joshua Kimmich is on there. His contract is expiring from Al Ahly. Have a look at his wages. He's on £1.4 million per week. If he wanted to come, I'd happily have him. Would he be he wouldn't be interested. I tell you what, though, if he goes on a free and wants 50k a week, sign me up. Sign me up. There's Dybala. Gnabry at Real Madrid. He's on 250k. That's why they're not interested. We just can't pay these wages, can we? Okay. Interesting. Let me, before we just finish up for today's video, and tell me if anybody jumps out, please. Let's just look for a potential left-back option that we might be interested in signing. I have, and I will go and do all of the due diligence of looking at all of those France under-21 teams, under-19 teams, maybe try and get a bit of an under-19s team together. Our B team and reserve teams are they're just empty, to be honest. If we could get a real group of under-19 players that we could kind of build in line with this save, I feel like that could be really fun. It's just not that easy to do when we're still needing to spend our money on our first team, aren't we? But maybe eventually something to look for. These guys then, as left-back, potential left-backs, would be interested in joining us. I haven't actually put left-back on. French left-backs under the age of 25. Do we have any that... I mean, this guy keeps coming up. I looked at him before. I think he's more of a centre-back. He is. Could be an interesting one. Lots of under-21 caps as well. Only 21 still. Do like him. Bastien, I'm going to call him there. Who's the French left backs now actually in their team? The senior squad's left back is Theo Hernandez. Do you have any other left backs on the bench here? Lucas Hernandez. Thomas Lemar is a left wing backs fund. That is something I would do, is move him to being an actual left back. Camavinga can play there. Wanted by Liverpool and Man City. I don't think we're going to get him. Under 23s, they don't really have a team. Under 21s, Miepiu is actually playing there as the left back option. Maybe something to consider. Combedi as well keeps popping up as an option. Wanted by Atletico Madrid now as well. He's right-sided, but someone I thought about signing before, actually. Anyone on here you like the look of too? Bichiabu is another one, actually. Even for centre-back, could be somebody to look for. They don't have pictures on here, by the way. For some reason, on the French national team, they don't have their photo. But if I went to Napoli here and looked at their squads, if I go to their players here and then found Bichiabu... Oh, now he doesn't actually have a picture. That's interesting. I thought he would. Anyway, I think he does have a photo, but the French national team makes it go weird with the photos in a strange way. Anyway, Riyad Hassan is also a left back. Wow, look at that hair. Manchester United. Going to cost too much. I think he's probably not interested either. Anyway, hopefully this was a nice little peek behind the curtain. I'm going to continue with this process. I'm going to listen to your suggestions too. Is left back, centre mid, the players that I've looked at signing Naipan on a permanent deal? Do I need to look for another winger? Do we need a new goalie and then bring in Rest as the first choice player? Let me know what you'd be thinking to do with this squad here. Would you keep going with the transfer system, the transfer approach that I'm going with, strategy of signing these young French players as well as other young players from around the world like Naipan? I think it's working quite nicely. I think we can get there because these players will develop and then we'll also bring in some big players too. Or do you think now's the time to go big on a player and sign somebody like a Manu Kone to push the needle a little bit more? Let me know what you think. I really do want to see your comments for today's video. Apologies if you're not one who likes the rambly type of live stuff and you want to see like the progress, but I think every now and then we just need to pause and take a little bit of an approach like this one. Next episode, we will have some of those transfers completed and we'll do maybe half of the season or something to make that progress and catch up from there. But that's where we're going to leave it for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have done, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video too. It does really help, and leave me those comments. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.